Good evening, familia. This is your host, Ray Collazo, and you're watching and listening to the Founded Translation Bomba Live simulcast. Founded Translation is the longest-running independent Latino-led news and variety talk show as a podcast starting in 2013. Wow, that seems like ages ago, doesn't it? And now as a live video stream you can find on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere you can, and anywhere you can download a podcast, iTunes, Spotify, and also as a radio program at 106.5 FM in Philadelphia, PPMLP, People Power Media, and of course, Bomba Live is the virtual Puerto Rican celebration because every day should be a Puerto Rican celebration. Again, thank you so much for joining us. There's your host, Ray Collazo. Please share with your friends. We're going to have a very diverse set of conversations, entertainment today. I'm going to start the show just reviewing sort of my analysis, some of the obvious news headlines. One of our very special guests, Danay Escanaverino, is going to come jump on, get her thoughts on some of these headlines, and then we're going to get her thoughts on the hottest new app that some of you have, probably a lot of y'all have heard about, trying to get on it, got a little FOMO about it, hearing a lot of people, celebrities, players, a lot of networking going on. Clubhouse. Tonight got the 401 on Clubhouse, y'all. Really going to be an interesting conversation. And then, of course, I know y'all are still hungry. Latinos are still sort of, even post Three Kings, are still celebrating the holiday season or hung over by the holiday season. But nevertheless, we still want to get down with some grub. And Tiffany Sierra from Cocina, Sierra is going to come back on the show to make us some arroz con gandules. Well, I know. So if y'all have some questions about how to make arroz con gandules, please join us for the show. She'll be on in a few minutes. But first, before I welcome my very special guest, I just wanted to share a couple things that I basically summed up, sort of a summary of my thoughts about this week's headlines. First, I'll start with the positive. Tuesday in Georgia arguably was nearly as important as the presidential election. So we had two runoff races, one a special election to fill a seat that was being someone that was being retiring. So the Senate before Tuesday was 50 Republicans, 48 Democrats. It was unlikely by normal political standards that Democrats would win not one but two Georgia races, particularly one with an African American and another with a Jewish American in the Deep South. But nevertheless, through organizing, through years of sort of the culmination of years of organizing led by Stacey Abrams and a strong group of African American leaders in Georgia, and quite honestly, by Trump's stumblings and can increase divisiveness, tearing not only our country apart, but the Republican Party, both Democrats won incredible victories on Tuesday. That means now with the 50-50, essentially Vice President Kamala Harris becomes the deciding vote and Democrats control the Senate. So now this leads to a much easier process for President Biden, soon to be President Biden, to get his cabinet confirmed, to get and to be able to begin this administration and potentially actually pass some legislation as it relates to COVID relief and other issues that greatly impact all of us, but particularly working people and disproportionately impact people of color, especially in the case of COVID relief and other health and employment issues. So a great victory. Latinos played a notable part in it as well. There's our friends at Mi Gente and a few of other Latino, Viva and a few of other Latino advocacy organizations reported that collectively they literally knocked on every Latino voter's door. Approximately 350,000 Latino households with at least one Latino voter in it in the great state of Georgia. And, if 150,000, 200,000 of them came out in Georgia, certainly one of the key swing states, key swing constituencies. So a great victory Tuesday. Let's see now. Now Biden really has more work to do because he actually has more space to get things done. There's going to be a lot on his plate. We have to particularly watch for how do some of the more controversial issues, particularly as it relates to civil rights, whether it's police reform issues, gun control, immigration, how do those issues play out in legislation by the Senate? Because one could argue that some of the more conservative senators like Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema are now some of the most powerful people in Washington. So that's on the good. The bad and the ugly was the culmination of which the nonsense we saw, the tragedy we saw in Washington, D.C. yesterday. As I said on social media last night and in the wee hours, that was an attempted coup, albeit clumsy, goofy, weird, messy, sad, but an attempted coup nevertheless. fomented by President Trump and the shameful group of Republican members of Congress. One in particular, I want to make sure my co-host has a moment to share about Senator Ted Cruz leading and fomenting this seditious conversation and basically standing against democracy in our political process by delaying and objecting to the formal acceptance by Congress of the Electoral College, the electors throughout the country, which by all rights, double, triple, counting all the votes, Biden, and certainly with the popular vote, Biden won a clear victory in November. So we have a coup that we dealt with. We have a very dangerous president over the next few weeks. Whether it's the 25th Amendment or being impeached, he absolutely needs to get out of office as soon as possible. We're calling on Senators Cruz and Hawley to resign for being traitors to this country, no less than that. And for the law enforcement officials and the other leaders that basically allowed these people to run ragged, literally tear up our nation's capital, there needs to be accountability. There's no question about it. Let's continue the conversation with a great friend to the show, the CEO of Luna Sol Media, and a Clubhouse expert, and in fact, the founder of the Amigos Clubhouse Room, and a great friend to the show, La Cubana que Manda, Danay Escanaverino.
I love that. I love that intro, La Cubana que Manda. My kids would agree.
Well, I'm sure claro que sí, they would agree. Let me peel you behind the curtain here at Found Translation Bomba Life. First of all, Danay, it's wonderful to see you, my friend. It's great to see you.
I'm so happy to hang out with you. Thank you for having me.
No, and Danay, let me tell you something. I always respect the people that are on the show when I was a lowly podcast. It was audio only back in the days. And Danay was one of our, really, frankly, probably one of the first adopters of the show way back when, and was on the show a few times during the audio only days. And of course, we're still a podcast going strong on the audio side as well. But I'll pull behind the curtain. I have a great friend to the show. You've probably seen him on the show or on the sports shows. Otro cubano in Los Angeles, Nisam Leon. I call him the Cuban Lion. I gave him that nickname. Now that's his Twitter handle. He's got his own persona. Great sports commentator. Is just a recently retired high school football coach out in L.A. And coached many of the NFL stars and had a great career on the youth college level. So one day we're chit chatting online, and he goes, Ray, I want to talk to you about something, Bob. Say, I love you. Cool. You always say how cool Cubans, Puerto Ricans. But other than me, I don't see a lot of Cubans on the show, dog. So I just want to let Nisam know we're working on it, brother. Hey, we all even friends got to hold each other accountable. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It happens in politics all the time. Danay, welcome to the show. You are a powerful businesswoman, and you really you have your ear to the street on a lot of levels. We're going to talk about Clubhouse in a minute, but I wanted to get your reaction to this whole situation. And actually, I want to start with, can we talk about Ted Cruz for a second?
Ay, Dios mío.
So Ted Cruz, this is, and I said this on social media when I wanted to get your reaction to it. Maybe I'm wrong or I'm misguided on this. But what frustrates me so much about this man, people can disagree about politics. That happens. No problem. We work with Republicans all the time on other issues, many issues. But my issue with him is he brings out the Cuban card cuando conviene. And what's so frustrating about him is that, a lot of his, even in some of his better moments, frankly, his political career, and when he talks about his father and he talks about the Cuban refugee community that his family was a part of, and that, this concept, rightfully so, which was, this wanting to immigrate to the United States for freedom, for economic and civil liberties, freedom, for democracy. And then he turns around and pulls this stunt. Forget la falta de respeto a la esposa. I'll even put that to the side. Where he's encouraging, fomenting, supporting authoritarianism here. So it's very frustrating to me. And it's not only a slap in the face to Americans, it's not only a slap in the face to people that believe in democracy, but I think it's a slap in the face to the community, the Cuban community that he pretends to help to be shaped by politically. So just wanted to get your thoughts about Rafael Ted Cruz at this moment.
Oh, man, where do I start? So, I'm a Cuban American. I'm a proud Cuban American. I'm an immigrant. I came over here when I was a little kid. And my dad was dude, I'm a proud Latina immigrant. And my dad was a political prisoner in Cuba. So when we talk about Cuba and Cuban American politics and the point of view, you know, it's strong in my family. That said, you know, I'm a lover of this country. I'm a lover of the Constitution. I'm a lover of the rule of law. I'm a lover of, you know, when something is wrong, we have processes that we can take to get to what we want, right? We have, you know, we have our branches of government. We have bills. We have ways to achieve change. We have ways to change laws. So if he has some kind of issue with the way the election was structured, right? Which, you know, the states have the right to run the elections the way they want to run them. It's called the United States of America, right? So the things that he brought up were just so preposterous because, you know, the allegations that they keep on bringing up, they have to be substantiated by evidence, and they haven't been. There have been over 50 cases where that hasn't been done. You know, several recounts in Georgia, several investigations in Georgia. Nothing came up that said, oh, this is definitely worth the 7 million or so votes that would totally change the results of this election. So just continuing to beat that drum is ridiculous. And to bring in, you know, his cubanismo, his background being a Cuban American those two things don't connect, because Cuban Americans love this country. They love what this country stands for. This country gives us the freedom that we couldn't get on our island. So yeah, it's
the height of hypocrisy. It's such a cruel irony. Elbert Garcia, one of our producers, notes that, you know, Congressman Carlos Jimenez, the former mayor of, I forget if it was the city of Miami-Dade, also voted to, you know, basically go against our democracy and objected to the electors being formally accepted by Congress. So there's a lot of shamefulness going around. And, you know, the question here, you know, one of the things that people have to realize, and you know, quite honestly, not enough Americans, and particularly Trump supporters, don't seem to care much about what the rest of the world thinks about us. And I know Danay, as a businesswoman, you keep careful eye of this, that, you know, how this impacts how the rest of the world sees us. It impacts us on a lot of levels, not just kind of perception, but that impacts the bottom line for us with business. I mean, to Absolutely. See the leadership of Turkey say, you know what, our democracy is in better shape than the United States nowadays, you know, and that weakness, you know, really, it really hurts. So, Danay, from a business perspective, and just your thoughts about how this smear on our democracy hurts our country.
You know, it's interesting because when I deal with a lot of clients all over Latin America, all over, you know, in Europe, Spain, Portugal, and it's just, you just kind of have to just shrug through the conversation sometimes, because we're in a situation right now, especially with what happened yesterday, which, you know, my God, we're in a situation where people are looking at us going, where's the United States that we all know that's like this beacon of, you know, freedom for everybody. And I still believe we are, and I still believe tremendously in this country and what it stands for. You know, I think these times are just kind of a blip. You know, we go through terrible times in history. The United States is not perfect, but I think it's because of our trials and tribulations and errors that we become a better union, right? Each one of these times turns us into a better nation. And so I think that's what we're going through. We're going through some historic times right now that are going to make us, in the end, a much better country. And I pray, a more unified country. But yeah, I mean, business-wise, just talking to, you know, clients and colleagues all over the world, it's just, you just have to shrug and say, you know, we're having a moment.
Yeah, a couple weeks. Call me in a couple weeks. It'll be better, hopefully. And, you know, I mean, the to get to your point, we're at our best when we confront our issues. You know, Absolutely. We've never been a perfect country. None of us are perfect people. And, you know, there's a lot of, obviously, rightfully, I mean, in some level, it's justified. I mean, there's a lot of finger pointing going on right now. You know, I mean, it's very fair for activists of color to question why this kind of very passive treatment of these protesters. I mean, the fact that they got to Nancy Pelosi's office, and obviously the destruction, the vandalism, and the police, the force, the Capitol Police were some combination of unprepared, understaffed, and uncaring about this whole situation. And in comparison to whether it's Black Lives Matter or other more diverse protest movements that have been there. And I've shared this with people. People don't go to DC. I lobby. I mean, that's part of what I do for my day job at Unidos US in politics. And I'm sure, Danay, you've been there before, and with your many hats, is that, I'm in a suit. I'm on the list to get in. I have a contact for the member of Congress's office I'm going to go meet, and they still treat me like a criminal. And I'm legit there. I mean, that's the tone and the culture and the image they want to project. Like, who are you kind of thing. And to see these people just be able to take selfies and, tear the place up like it's a fraternity party.
I was shocked. I was absolutely
Isn't that
shocked.
crazy?
I mean, first of all, thank you, you bunch of bumbling fools, for showing everybody in the world and our enemies how easy it is to reach the.
Yeah. Well, if you're white, or you're a white guy, I don't know. Somebody. By the way, did you see the guy that he was wearing his work ID badge? So they fired him this morning because he was.
Yeah, good. And I can't wait to see all of the lawsuits. I can't wait to see everybody hit with that 10-year, 10-year maximum, or 10-year maximum, I think it was, for, defacing a federal building or a monument or anything like that. I say throw the book at them because they deserve it.
No question about it. We're going to get back to that conversation. And in a moment, Danay's going to give us the 411 on Clubhouse. Ooh, I tell you, boy, I know a lot of people taking notes because they're like, how do I get on? I know it's going to be a big question. I'm auctioning off my invite, but that's another conversation. Let's get to the cooking. I know some of y'all are hungry. It's a little late, but on the West Coast, it's still dinner time. Let's get to the culinary master of Found Translation Bomba Live. Tiffany Sierra's back in the house. What's going on, Tiff?
Hey, how you doing?
Cocina
Thanks for having me back.
No problem. Cocina Sierra in the house.
Yeah, woo!
For those that didn't see the Christmas episode, shame on you if you didn't see it, but Tiffany brought the heat and a lot of joy with our coquito presentation.
And you had some after, so.
I had some before and after, yes. Well, before, during, and after.
Yeah.
But Tiffany hooked me up with some extra supply during the holidays. Had a good time. So, Tiffany, you're back.
Yep,
and
I'm back.
You wanted to make for our audience
this is like passing the baton in my family. You don't really earn your Latina card until you can make your mother's rice. And about 2 years ago, I really was like, my brothers were like, all right, Tiff, you got it. So I'm going to show you. Yeah.
That's Tiffany, before you get to the presentation, Danay, con una cubana, arroz con gandules, dime. Talk to me.
Oh, I love arroz con gandules. Oh my gosh, I love arroz con gandules. My cousin had married un puertorriqueño, and his mother used to make arroz con gandules for every holiday get together. I used to look forward to that. Oh, I love it.
It's awesome. All right, Tiffany.
All right,
so the
floor
is yours,
take
my
the pot
friend.
off. I don't want to burn it. All right. So first, you want to start with the oil. You got to start with your cooking base, right? I do about 1/3 cup of. I do olive oil. Most people do like canola oil. We're gonna add sazon, which is I do like a teaspoon. I'm gonna do salchichon because normally you do it with a cookie base. Traditionally, you always made it with like pork fat. I'm gonna do 2 cloves of garlic that I already smashed with, might be long back there. I'm gonna do gandules, about a whole can. I have olives. I do 1/3 cup. And then the most important part is the sofrito, which is like basically like your flavoring. I made it from scratch. I did more verde, which is more green, so it's more recao than anything, and cilantro, but that's how I like it. Most people do more red peppers and pimientos. So you let that simmer on high. You have to make sure your cauldron, your caldero, is really hot because you want that simmering, you want it boiling. And we're going to make about 3 cups of rice. And I already pre-washed my rice. So I use medium rice. So for medium rice, you do 1 cup of water, 1 cup of rice. You mix that in. And some people use salsa. I don't use salsa, which is like tomato sauce. And then I already have my water ready. You mix that in. And then I personally like to add the salt at the end because you can play with it. You have all your ingredients, you mix it. And I'm going to do the salt now. I do about a tablespoon. And then you taste it just to see. And it's good. All right, so this is like the oldest trick. My grandma, my mom taught me this. If you could put the spoon in, and usually you could use a big wooden spoon, but this is the one I got. If it sticks up, that means it's the balance between all the water. So fingers crossed. I've never done it live. Let's see. Woo! I did it. So that means it's the perfect portion of water and rice, and it's balanced. So you just mix it, and you don't cover it until it starts boiling, and it's on high heat. So you just keep it boiling, simmering, simmering, simmering. And it's as high as it can go. So it takes normally, depending on the pot, depending on your stove, about 3 to 5 minutes. My rice, I feel like, takes about 25 minutes. This is only 3 cups of rice, so it shouldn't take that long. But normally, on a regular, not holiday rice, I'll just cover it with aluminum. But for your holiday rice, I recommend using banana leaves because it adds like this authentic, not authentic, but I feel like it really kind of grabs this like traditional, like Christmassy flavor of, you're making the pasteles and everything with banana leaves. So it really brings home la finca, I think. So, but you don't cover it until it's boiling. So I'm just waiting for it to boil. Just wait, boil. I can't cover it until it's boiling.
I tell you, Danay, first of all, I'm even hungry. My wife made, by coincidence, my wife made arroz con gandules tonight, and now I'm hungry again for more. So I'm gonna see if there's any pegao in the caldo. But Danay, first of all, Tiffany's so good at presenting this food.
Thank you. So. But it's funny you say pegao, Ray. So the higher the heat, at this point is when like really the pegao is starting. Like this is like. The longer you keep this, like let's just say it starts boiling a little bit faster. Science is on my side right now, but once it starts boiling, if you really want like a good pegao, you keep it there. I'm not into pegao. That's not my thing. It's like oops. But but so once it boils, which it hasn't done yet, because we're live, so it's not doing it. But you
That's
cover
awesome.
it and it'll work. So
Danay, I know this is making you hungry, even late.
Well, is it? And I'm into pegao, so
I know.
I like it.
Yeah, I felt like you were a pegao taker.
I'm a pegao kind of gal.
Yeah, no question about it. So
all my family is so. But real quick, so I use sazon from Marisal's.
Yes,
I like her sazon because she like makes it organic. Most of her products are from her finca from her dad's farm in San Lorenzo, Puerto Rico. So whenever she comes, she brings all her products from the farm and she like packages it and stuff. So this is one of my favorite sazons to use, and that's the one I put in the pot. So, and it is boiling, guys. So now we're gonna cover it. You can't see it, but it's like sizzling. So you don't really need this many banana leaves, but you just kind of cover it to make sure it's covered like that. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna use this one because I don't like any of the rice to show. Cover it.
There you go.
And that's it. You walk away. And some people do the mid stir. I don't do the mid stir. I just
that's you gotta be careful with that.
You have to lower the heat.
Gotta be careful with that.
You have to lower the heat because if you don't lower the heat, you burn it.
No doubt about it. So what's going to happen is that Tiffany's going to come back when she's done cooking at the end of the show. So we're going to see the final product, and in fact, she's going to have a couple questions for Danay, who's as a Latina business powerhouse, is going to give our burgeoning businesswoman here some advice. So much respect to shout out Madeline's business again. I want to make sure.
MarisalsPR.com. If you go to her page, her website, MarisalsPR.com, you can get her piques, which pique de Lela goes great with arroz con gandules. She has adobo, sazon, adobo son. She has all seasoning products and piques for you. So check it out. It's great.
Wonderful.
I love it.
So when we come back from this quick break, we're gonna hear all about Clubhouse, the hottest app VIP app out there on the platform, and we'll hear later on from Tiffany. We're gonna get a clip from the show that Tiffany debuted on Bomba Live, our virtual Parranda edition, our Christmas special, which was such a lot of fun. So a little bit from our musical guest and our IG star, the Funky Bacalao.
Sí, señor. Llegó su marido. Sí, señor. ¿Y qué le trajo? Un globón. ¿De qué color? Verde limón. Verde limón. ¿Camisa? Tengo camisa. No tengo calzón. La botellita. Tiene tapita. Y el botellón. Pero bebo yo. Quítale, 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 quítale el tapón. Quítale, 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 quítale el tapón. Quítale el tapón. Eso.
Come on, I'm going to end. We'll do the show for the Puerto Ricans. You see, this is live. This is
hilarious.
That's live. People screaming to be in.
That's right. Evilise, welcome back. Welcome
What's
back.
up, guys? Thank you for inviting me back.
What's up? How are you doing today?
Mira, ya tú sabes, son las climas en Florida. There's no snow, there's no love, there's no heat, pero aquí estamos porque no hay de otra.
I tell you, Funky Bacalao is a trip. So the backstory there is that when she was saying people were trying to come in, when she was singing, people literally were at her window looking over going, oh, is there a party or something? Can I be a part of that? They literally wanted to get in her house for this parranda, but of course she was part of a virtual one. So it was kind of an awkward situation, but nevertheless, we show how much fun we have here. And Funky, I don't know if you follow her on IG, but she's hilarious tonight. She does a lot of great videos.
I don't. I'm going to now.
Yeah. And she's connected to a group of Puerto Rican and Latino IG influencers that are doing charity work. They're doing a lot of awareness in the Latino community around wearing your mask. So Tapate la Boca is their hashtag for that campaign, and they do a lot of collaborative videos with PR flags up. There's a whole Senior Edison, a bunch of these emerging comic stars on Instagram and TikTok. So they're a lot of fun. And Evilise is down in a Euro part of the world in South Florida. So she keeps us tabs of what's going on down there. Thank you again. This is Ray Collazo, the host of Found in Translation, and this is a Bomba Live crossover episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Found in Translation stacks truth about politics and today's hottest issues. We spoke a little bit earlier about the historic political events we've had this week. Not all bad. Georgia worked out really well from a Democratic perspective, and we'll see now what that very precarious balance of power, how that plays out in the U.S. Senate starting in a couple weeks, and of course, this shameful, treasonous attack on our democracy yesterday. I'm just glad none of our members of Congress or their staff people got hurt yesterday, which, which could have happened. The women of color would have been the members would have been the target of these rioters. So we're just happy that all of our folks are safe. We're here having a great conversation with Danay Escanaverino from Luna Soul Media. Before we get into the conversation about Clubhouse, Danay, why don't you share a little bit about the work you're doing at Luna Soul Media for businesses and nonprofits?
Absolutely. So we are a digital marketing agency, and we connect brands to multicultural consumers. We do that with an affiliate network. And so what we do is we bring both Latino creators, Instagrammers, YouTubers, anybody who has an audience, we help them monetize that audience so that they can focus on creating and make money. And then for the brands, my mission for this year is to bring on another 100 Latino brands to the network that can promote their products with affiliates. And basically, when affiliates sell for you, right, when they result in sales on their websites, then you pay a commission. So it's a great way for a business to grow without having the risk of putting in a lot of extra marketing dollars on stuff that you're testing or you don't know will work. And so, I'm very excited because this year is the year that I really want to get more Latino brands online in the digital marketing space promoted.
Well, that's a great concept because we, it's interesting you say that because I actually had a conversation with somebody today that I want to connect with you, who has not only a business person, but someone who has a network of businesses. There's actually a lot of synergy with that. So I definitely want to connect with you. And that's one of the things we're trying to do here is not only promote talented people that have a lot to say in a lot of areas, but promote our emerging small business community. So, Tiffany with catering and cooking, and our collaborator Madi with her products, cooking products. But people that have a lot of goods and services, they can provide. You also work with nonprofit organizations, right?
We do. We work with nonprofit organizations. Yep. We help them with their social media strategy. We help them with their email marketing. Yes.
Yeah, and that's really important, particularly because a lot of times what happens, really with our nonprofits, is that they have a lot of efficacy in the programmatic work that they execute, but oftentimes their margins are small to invest the way they should need to on their communications and marketing, and then social media. So that's a great service, and we encourage all of our, we have a lot of nonprofit leaders and senior staffers that watch the show. So we encourage you to connect. Let people know, Danay, where they can connect with Luna Sol Media on your products and services.
So you can actually just follow me on Instagram at danay.e and message me there, or you can email me at danay@lunasolmedia.com.
Perfect. So the main reason why I get Danay on the show this week in particular is that I heard about this like 6 weeks ago. And in fact, a couple of Latinas specifically reached out to me and said, we need your voice on this platform called Clubhouse. And sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. So I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Oh, of course. They were like, well, you know what Clubhouse is, right? I'm like, oh, of course I know. Of course, I had no idea. Google search, realized it's kind of like the thing, kind of thing where the influencers and the VIPs are. But you just can't download the app and jump on it. There's a little bit of a process there. Fast forward to during the holidays, Danay. I want to shout out Zulima Rodriguez, who's a great activist and businesswoman on right now in Phoenix, Arizona, who's a frequent contributor to the show. She said, hey, you want to get on, you need to get on Clubhouse. I got an invite. And her and an African-American political friend of mine, Carl Darby, sort of mutually invited me to come on. So I want to thank both of them for this opportunity. And right around New Year's, I got a new habit in my life. So Danay, why don't you start with, you're one of the earliest Latino adopters to this. So why don't you just explain to people, let's start with what Clubhouse is, because there's a lot of mystery towards what Clubhouse is. How do you get on it? So give people the 411 on the app, the Clubhouse app itself.
Sure. Okay. So it is a new social network. It is a brand new social network, but it's unlike any other social network out there in that it is audio only. You don't have to worry about what you look like. You don't have to worry about creating content, taking pretty pictures, product shots, nothing. It's all you and your gift of gab and your gift of connecting with people with audio, just your voice. So that right there, I love it. It is a place where a lot of early adopters are, very high value people. Lots of the gurus are in there. And so you can actually go in there and hobnob with them and get into some rooms with them where you can just gather tremendous insight and tremendous tips on, running your business and different types of strategies and stuff like that. So really, it's a social network that is audio based. Yeah.
So I'm trying to put it in layman's terms so our folks, you can kind of, if you haven't had a chance to get on there, is that, it's kind of like the audio equivalent to the group chats and the group WhatsApp chats you have with your cousins. It's kind of like, it's messy. Everyone's on there. It's very democratic in a sense, because basically, for the most part, everyone gets a chance to say their piece, and you could do it whenever you want, day or night. It's definitely addicting. So Danay, let me ask you a question. So, and this access issue is very interesting because, we'll see how it evolves, but basically the app developers decided to sort of grant access initially to very influential people. It seems to me, and from what I've seen from the reporting, two groups of people sort of really gravitate toward initially, which has been, sort of these tech gurus, business guru types that, like to have these platforms to shoot the breeze about politics, about business and technology. And then kind of like, sort of on the other extreme or the other side of the coin has been a lot of not only people in the music industry and the arts, but particularly minorities, a lot of urban artists, a lot of the celebrity R&B artists, hip hop artists, 21 Savage, Tyrese. Some of these emerging hip hop artists are like, basically live on there and they're on there all the time. And, if you're in a room with like 10, 15 people and two of them are celebrities, there's a good chance you're going to have a chance to talk directly to some of these people. So why don't you talk about, talk about your experience. How did you get on? How long have you been on? And what have you found? Have you benefited in your time on Clubhouse?
So I've been on for about a month, a little over a month. I really, really took it seriously during the holidays because it is a time like warp. You get in there and you just want to stay in there because you make some great connections. You have some great conversations with amazing people. And so I really took advantage of the holidays and I spent some time on there and I learned a lot about the platform. And you know me, I have to figure stuff out. So I figured out, how to create rooms and how to create chats and how to bring people on and how to connect with people. And it's just amazing. There are all of these types of people on the platform that you can have connections with. And it's so accessible for everybody. You don't just go in there, and it's not like when you go to a trade show or when you go to some event where you're a wallflower. Really, it's just you and people communicating, saying hi. Definitely want to get down your 30-second pitch, talking about who you are, just so that you can communicate with people quickly, because it is audio only. And if you lose somebody's attention because you don't know how to communicate who you are or what you can do for them or why they should be listening to you, that's important. So you definitely want to bring value with your pitch and with the things that you're saying, the gems that you're dropping. It's just crazy. It's a great, great platform. I love it.
It's really, I've enjoyed it quite a bit. And I think I've been on it. I still have my, what is it? We've only been on there a week, like my party hat.
Your little party hat, yeah.
I still have. I think I have it for another 24 hours, if that. But it actually made it was. I think it was. It's been about that week. So one of the things that's really been interesting. Well, first of all, I think it's really been interesting from sort of a broadcaster perspective. It's fascinating because on some level, audio only does sort of take away a lot of the filters and some of the barriers that sometimes people have for communicating, period, right? Because, even for this, it's an extra step of setup and lighting and feeling good about your visual as not only just your message. And then, I find it and just that access. I mean, the fact that I've been just in like a week, I'd be able to talk to, quite honestly, people that could help me with my broadcast career, elected officials that, I can communicate with, but, there'd be, the direct access to some of the political players in Philadelphia and around the country that I associate with, and just new voices. I was in a conversation with about, a dozen Black political leaders, people that are kind of, comparable to my career path in my career, but, our paths don't cross as much. And it was great to kind of get their unfiltered perspective about the results in Georgia yesterday. And I think they really appreciated kind of my Latino spin on it. And that conversation around sort of bridge building. So it sort of gives you easy access, particularly during the COVID season, to, the kind of speed networking opportunities that, are just harder than ever at this point in our history to do. And it's really interesting, but it can be, you do have to sort of, how would you say,
you have to be intentional. You have
to be intentional. But so there's really two experiences. There's sort of this more casual experience that Danay's talking about, that you're in there, you can just listen, maybe get an opportunity to say a few words on a stage. But then there's being a moderator. And so Danay, why don't you talk about that experience? Because you not only are sort of listening and networking, engaging people, but you're actually leading rooms, and in particular the room you're doing, which is one of the hottest ones on Clubhouse, which is the Amigos room every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. And so Amigos Clubhouse, by the way, sounds like a place you drop off your kids on a cruise, doesn't it? The Amigos Clubhouse. Hey, they have an Xbox here. I'll be at the casino for a couple hours. But so Danay, what has been that experience like? You've set up a consistent room on Clubhouse for people to network and talk about business and other hot topics.
Yeah. So, one thing I know for sure about anything, whether it's business, whether it's social marketing, or any type of marketing, right, is consistency. So when I set up this room, I really wanted to make sure that we were there every day at 10 a.m. On the dot, so that people could get used to knowing, 10 a.m. is networking hour. I go in, I hang out with the amigos, and I do some great networking. And it's like speed dating, but in audio only and for business. And so everybody comes in at 10 o'clock in the morning. Some people come in on time. Some people join us in 30 minutes. Some people join us an hour later. And for 2 hours, myself and some fellow co-hosts and moderators just run networking. We talk about the app. We, anybody who's new to the app, we kind of walk them through what things mean and how to do stuff. And we just let everybody do a 60-second pitch. And it really is a great opportunity. We see some people coming in there where the first couple of days, their pitch was just, it was rough. And as they kept on coming in and, honing in their pitch, you could see that they're starting to get better at their pitch and communicating what they do to the right audience. So it's just been amazing. I have made so many great connections in that room and in other rooms for business, for all kinds of things.
Yeah, no, it's been really interesting. And one of the things that it teaches, it really affirms to me is, especially from a Latino perspective, is that Latinos, particularly English-speaking Latinos that are established in this country but don't feel seen in a lot of ways still, is that we really are craving these media platforms like this. And because I literally, again, full disclosure, I hadn't heard about it. It was real, burgeoning and sort of insidery, and you had to almost kind of be in a few industries to know about it until recently. And one of the things that when I had particularly younger Latinas reach out to me and say, we need your voice on here because we don't have enough people that can kind of lead some of the discussions, that to me, and then some of the conversations that we've been a part of in the Clubhouse amongst Latinos, particularly younger Latinos, is that they really are craving sort of visibility for their message, for their voice, for their niche market, so it really goes to show that even though with social media, we have access to do a lot of things, that from a Latino perspective, we are still looking for these networks of people that can help them elevate their voice. I mean, I ended up, we've done, shout out to Cocina Vega. That's one of my frequent co-hosts, and who now has developed Danay, her own show specifically geared towards assisting Latinas that were victims of domestic violence, so domestic violence survivors. And she's doing like on-the-spot coaching, a lot of great conversation. She's basically developed a nonprofit as a spinoff of this program. And so she's raising money to, and I want to connect you with you at some point. She's raising money to do some of the programming. But my point is that, when her and I did a Clubhouse, sort of experimenting last week, we ended up basically having like almost like psych out sessions, because people were coming on the just kind of organically brought up like, well, I'm on here, but I'm not comfortable talking yet. Well, why aren't you comfortable talking? And it spurred some really interesting conversations around, people, and in this case, Latinas feeling they didn't have platforms to express themselves and feeling comfortable with their voice and their leadership style. So it really can essentially, but I've also heard like ratchet nonsense arguments on there. So I
have to. I mean, you choose the rooms, exactly. if there's a room and you don't like the vibe, and there have been rooms where I haven't liked the vibe and it's just been nonsense and people complaining about everything under the sun, and with nobody coming up with solutions, or you know what I'm saying? It's just, I agree with you. And I just leave those rooms because they're not serving me, and I don't feel like they're serving anybody, but at least me, they're not serving. So you definitely have to be intentional about how you spend your time in the Clubhouse app. Because there's a good to everything and there's a bad to everything. And so there's going to be an amazing opportunity to connect with people and to learn. And then there's going to be the opportunity to just waste your time and not do anything, productive for yourself.
That's right. And we're talking to Danay Escanaverino about, well, a lot of things, but in this case, we're talking about Clubhouse, which is sort of the hottest insider app out there, sort of an audio chat platform on steroids. Danay, what do you see as the future of, right? First of all, one of the things, because it's a sort of early adopting stage, it's only on iPhones. So, right. I actually spoke to someone yesterday, a celebrity type, I'll just leave it at that, that actually is so excited about this. This person's actually going to go get an iPhone because they have an Android right now because they need to get and so I'm like, hey, I know someone that can get you an invite, but you gotta have the right technology. And it is sort of invite only. I have found that the more they give you one, but the more you're involved, someone was teasing the other day that they have 5 now and they're sort of squirreling them away for a rainy day. But what do you see, Danay, sort of from your marketing lens? What do you see as the future of this app? Obviously, at some point, it's going to expand beyond the iPhone platform. And do you think is it possible that the novelty could wear off if it gets too crowded and sort of the intimacy of the networking loses? How are you forecasting Clubhouse becomes a player in the landscape?
So, it's such a brand new app and they've done an amazing job with what they have already. I definitely see it going through growing pains like all of the social networks go through whenever they open it up to everybody. I believe they're going to open it up to everybody in March. So a couple months down the road. And, it's very intimate right now, but there are a lot of people on there. It's not like it's, only 5,000 people. But I think it's going to be a matter of better searchability. They just introduced a search feature where you can search for rooms so that you can, kind of not just stumble upon rooms, but find more rooms based on your interests. Right now, in order to find rooms, you need to follow people. And whoever you follow, whatever rooms they're in, then you'll see those rooms available. If you don't follow people, you won't see the rooms that they're available in. So it's kind of like the wild, wild west of just stumbling into rooms here and there. So I think the searchability is going to definitely play a large role, because when you have millions upon millions of people, in this app, it's very different from what they have right now. So I really see them developing their search features quite a bit.
I think the other thing that's going to be interesting to see is that, so right now everything's sort of live, and unless, correct if I'm wrong, but the only way you're allowed from like a guidelines perspective to tape, record the conversations is that if you put in the headline explicitly, this conversation being recorded. Is that correct?
Well, the founders do not. Like we did a town hall.
Okay.
They do not want the recording happening at all.
Okay.
It's a big no-no. Like if you see any audio online of anybody being on the app, that's like a no-no.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
So yeah. So
a lot of rumors going around about what you can do at Clubhouse, speculation.
A lot of people sharing tips that absolutely don't exist. But that's with the new stuff. It always happens. But no, there's absolutely no recording right now. They're talking about bringing that into play because, I mean, there's so much amazing content that you have to have a way to come back to it and replay it and re-experience it. So I see that definitely happening. And I know they're talking about it, but not for right now.
And then the other thing, so besides sort of the audio on demand element of it, the other piece will be how sort of the clubhouses work. So, and I don't know if you want to explain that, but basically there's a point where your room, you can kind of establish yourself or your room to the point where they'll give you a clubhouse. Why don't you explain the difference between a room and a clubhouse and how that works tonight?
Sure. So a room is just, you create a room, people come in and they chat, you can schedule it. So my room, I schedule one every day for 10 a.m. And people come in and they meet up and, I promote it all over my socials. But as far as a club is something that it's just a club, right? It's a group and people can join that club. Once you have enough rooms that you've done, that you've hosted a bunch of chats and you've had rooms here and there, then they'll give you the opportunity to sign up for a club and you'll apply for a club. And then once you get approved, you have a club that people can join. And so when people join your club, then all of the club members can create rooms within that club so that all of the club members hear about it. So now you have more of an audience that is consistent, that is there, that you can invite to stuff versus, kind of being out there and having your room and you having the onus being on you to communicate with everybody that you have that room. So I think the clubs are a great idea and it's a great opportunity to have that network that you're building be consistent.
Yeah, no. And, one of the things we're looking at here sort of with our group of, because what's happened is that, which has been a beautiful development here, is that Found in Translation birthed Bomba Life. And then, this show birthed Love Shouldn't Hurt, Cocina's show. It birthed, Dionelli Reyes has 2 different Spanish language podcasts she does now, Brandy's Live, and I forget the name of the other one. But, she's doing a lot of broadcasting. My brother just did one with another one of our collaborators, Vanessa Maria Graber, for our group Philly Boricuas. That's a local advocacy group. So there's a lot of content that's burning from this show. And, we're talking about sort of not only how to support what you're doing, but how do we potentially, do we have enough time to fully transfer all these great talents onto onto Clubhouse sort of in a significant way. We're talking to Danay Escanaverino, the CEO of Luna Sol Media and the founder and main moderator for the Amigos Clubhouse room. So if you're on the Clubhouse, you definitely got to check it out. Danay, share again a little bit about Luna Sol Media, and then we'll go to a couple musical clips and bring Tiffany on the show, how her Arroz con Gandules came out.
Sure. So Luna Sol Media is a digital agency. We connect brands to multicultural consumers online, and we run an affiliate network where if you have a product, if you're a product owner, then you can get affiliates, websites, podcasters, YouTubers, anybody with an audience to promote your product. And when they result in sales, you pay a commission. So it's very low risk, basically no risk to promote your products online. And you can have an army of affiliates that, are Latinos as well, promoting your products on their blogs, on their email lists, in their podcasts. So it's a great opportunity to promote.
I want to shout out Bren Peters, who's giving you a shout out, Danay, and Mr. Collazo. So formal. Call me Ray.
Hi, Bren.
Joining the live. Very informative. Thank you, Bren. And Nasadio has been hinting here. He's been giving us a lot of love, but he's also hinting for an invite, Danay. I'm just being honest with you. That's the vibe I'm getting from Nasadio. Just teasing you, Nasadio. You've been very helpful. You've been very engaged in the chat, and we really appreciate your commentary. So let's hear a couple musical clips from some recent performances here on I'm sorry, Nasadio. I saw the picture. I apologize. On Bomba Live Found Translation, we'll come back and see how our Arroz con Gandules came out.
Va a escuchar, pero yo sí me encontré con un pajarito pequeño que mientras iba en busca del sol se topó conmigo y a mi oído cantó esta simple melodía. Pero yo sí me encontré con un pajarito pequeño que mientras iba en busca del sol se topó conmigo y a mi oído canto esta simple melodía. Nothing left to lose. Oh, I just feel like there's no close. I'm sure it's all over now. Until I think of you.
Heidi Rosa, that was so beautiful. I had to keep it real. That was beautiful, wasn't it? That was Heidi Rosa. She's talented, isn't she? Lives in upstate New York, great singer, does a lot of Christian music as well. Very versatile young diva. And the first musical clip you saw was Fabiola Mendez. People saw on the Christmas show. She led our virtual parranda. Fabiola Danay is the first person, not just the first person, first woman, but first person, period, to graduate from the prestigious Berklee College of Music in Boston, being a cuatro player, the Puerto Rican cuatro. So she's very impressive. She just got a big grant from a foundation up in Boston to spread her musical gifts. So she was in Puerto Rico, basically on Facebook Live. You saw her basically every day during the holidays playing with some of the legendary traditional folkloric Puerto Rican singers and artists. So she's a great talent, great friend to the show, the Cagos Puerto Rico. Let's bring our Cocinera back. Tiffany's back.
Hey, I am back. Are you guys ready?
Tiffany, yeah, we're ready. We got the chat and we're talking and we're
ready.
We're Puerto Rican and we're hungry. Talk to us, girl.
Let's see. Woo! You see the smoke? I hope you can.
Yes.
It smells delicious. Now we have to do it super hot. And it looks actually amazing. Hold on. So I'm gonna turn it, and now I don't. Again, like I said, I don't normally mix it in the middle. Some people do. My glasses are getting foggy. Hold on. So I'm mixing it now, but everything looks even. The color's even. Now, if you like it, some people like a little bit more like color. So with that, you just add more sazon. Some people like it like that. I like it this color. This is how my mom would do it, like a little bit more natural. The organic sazon.
My oldest is a sazon like freak. He just loves sazon and everything. His soup is orange. I mean, everything's orange.
Oh, it's good. Could have been bad, but it's good. So I actually have a traditional, kind of what you would see in the holiday, like a traditional plate made already. You know, I'm all about that Hollywood magic. So I have tostones de pana, pernil, arroz con gandules already. And growing up, you always would have like lechuga con tomates. So, and most people would just use like a garlic and vinegar salad dressing. So this would be a traditional plate, either for the holiday or even like on a good like celebration. So
that's fantastic. Danay, I know living in ex-urban Virginia. I guess I don't know how to explain it, but you're not in any of the capital of the Caribbean food anymore. Not Miami or.
No.
I know your lips. It's mouth-watering.
Oh my God, I'm dying over here.
I know I have a little bit of everything.
Good.
I'm just missing like the mayo ketchup for the tostones.
Es un plato perfecto.
Oh, cuando lo vi los tostones, ¿verdad que sí, Danay? Oh my God. Danay, what's your favorite Cuban restaurant in South Florida?
Ooh, okay. So I have
the real deal. The real. I mean, let's get to the real deal here.
So I really like La Carreta, but more than La Carreta, there's a little place. Well, you probably have heard of it, Las Vegas Restaurant.
Seguro que Las Vegas. Absolutely. Okay. I've thrown events in Las Vegas.
They have
my main office from one of my old jobs between 07 and 11. Our main headquarters was on Biscayne Boulevard, like 2 miles up from the from downtown. So I went to all, and our boss was Cuban, and we went to all those great places. Absolutely, I know Las Vegas.
Yeah, I love that place. That place really has like that home feel, the home cooking feel.
Yes. And La Carreta is always consistent. I have no problems with La Carreta. What's your go-to Cuban dish?
Ooh, okay. Carne de puerco.
Seguro.
Arroz con frijoles negros, platanitos maduros, tostones.
My dad, Castilano, he loves black beans. My dad, he's probably watching.
Yeah, I love black beans. I make a mean frijoles negros, and tostones, and you have to have aguacate y la lechuga, just like the Puerto Ricans do it, with the lettuce and the tomato. Yes, I'm now hungry. Thank you.
Well, that was the point. Tiffany,
I'm glad I can make people hungry.
Tiffany, doing a wonderful job. Let people know again where they can contact you and you and Madi and your crew for food and food products.
If you want any piques, which I love her piques. I'm not even like a pique person, and these things are like just amazing. Marisolspr.com. You can get these there. If you have any questions or any catering questions, or you want anything catered, you can go to my cooking page at Instagram, Cocina_Sierra. This January to February, I'm going to be launching a meal prep, like a personal meal prep, where I'm going to be catering people's, like, not just like, the big names where it's like you pick it out of a website and that's it. I want to cater to what you're really what your goals really are this year, whether you want to lose weight or you just want to like feel better about your body. So I'm going to be launching that in the next 2 weeks. Just so go to my Instagram page to check out that project that I'm about to be doing. And hopefully in the next couple of months, I'm going to be doing a YouTube where I'll be doing classes. And I have a question for Danay. So,
dale.
One of the things small business, we're partnering, we're trying to get our names out there. It's kind of a two-part question. With Instagram and Facebook, where everyone's always saying, oh, we got to, be constant, make sure you're constantly doing content. Do you think Instagram and Facebook are really going to be the steam holders for our advertisement in the next 6 months to a year? Like, do you think it's going to be like the constant for that? And then,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and then if so, what are kind of the like small techniques as a starter business someone could do to try to boost their fan base?
Okay, so that's a very important question. First of all, I definitely am full on Instagram. I don't do a lot of Facebook only because the algorithm has changed so much to where you really don't, you just don't have any reach anymore when it's organic. You have to really pay for ads. So if you're not working on an ad budget and you're working on trying to get organic traffic and organic, followers and at some point customers, definitely focus on Instagram and TikTok.
Ooh,
Instagram and TikTok are your places to hang out, especially with food. Oh, yes. Because those are two places that you can still take advantage of organic traffic. And for the Instagram strategy, a lot of people are like, put out content. Yes, content is super important. But who the heck is going to see you if you don't have eyeballs? How do you get those eyeballs? Find the people that you're competing with, right? Find the people that are following them, which, you can see on their profile, and then go into those people's accounts and start commenting on the things that they post. They're going to see you. They're going to see, oh, well, who is this? And then they're going to come over to your site, to your profile, and they're going to get to know you. And so that's a little strategy that you use to really be intentional and be active on there and communicate with people, because it is social. It's social media todavía, right?
Yeah.
So communicate with those people, find your competitors' followers, comment on their stuff, and you're going to find that you're going to get more followers and you're going to get more people to start clicking on your stuff, start liking, and start commenting.
Great. Thank you so much.
No, and Nasadio, really appreciate your commentary. She's also commenting on Sergio's in Miami is one of her Cuban go-to.
Yes,
she
oh
represents.
My gosh, I forgot Sergio's.
So yeah, I don't know if I've ever been to Sergio. I've heard of it. I don't think I've been there, but and then she's also co-signing on TikTok. You got to definitely follow our show here, Bomba Live, Nasadio. You're bringing a lot to it, and I think you'll enjoy our weekly programming. And Brent Peters wants to follow Fabiola Mendez and Heidi Rosa. So we got a few new fans for our great musical artists. So wow, there's a lot of good information happening here. So Danay, why don't we wrap this up with sharing again how people can contact you, and Tiffany, you can do the same as we wrap up this edition of the show.
Awesome. So you can contact me on Instagram at danay.e, Danay.e. And that's the same profile also on TikTok. And it's the same profile on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, follow me. Come join us for the 10 a.m. Amigos chat. We'd love to see you. And hi, Bren, and hi, Nasario. Those are my ladies.
Oh, wonderful. And if you happen to be on Clubhouse or can get on Clubhouse, again, speak it into existence, talk it around. Somebody's got an invite for you. Definitely check out the Amigos Clubhouse room every day, 10 a.m. And oftentimes Danay will be moderating it, but she does have a life and have a business. So there may be others that'll be assisting, and you may see me on there one of these days moderating, being a mod. Well, that's kind of one of the new go-to phrases. Tiffany, share again how people can contact you.
So you can contact me through Instagram at Cocina_Sierra. And with any questions, anything, if you want to personalize meal prep, if you want to just learn how to cook some rice for the day, I've done that for some other people in comments before. Y'all just DM you and give you like a little tidbit on how to do it. So yeah, hit me up, follow me, like my pictures, do all that fun stuff.
Wonderful. And we ask people again if they can please follow Bomba Live on all our social media channels and Found in Translation on all the social media channels at Bomba Live PR and at FIT_talk show. And it'll be really helpful if you follow our YouTube page in particular for both shows, so that for Bomba Live we can get our own URL. So, and I'm going to take Danay some of those IG tips, because that would definitely improve our following as well. Thank you, Danay. Thank you. Tiffany. For those folks, for those folks that are really concerned about what they saw this week in Washington, you should be, and let's continue to be vigilant. And we all need what both Tuesday in Georgia and what Wednesday in DC teach us, that we have to stay involved. And so obviously voting is critically important, but we have to have our voice heard. And not everyone has to be a political person and go to rallies and go to city council. But it's about, having that conversation with your family. And, look, we got racism in our community too, and we got issues with our own folks too. So it's about, opening your mind and having sometimes those awkward conversations to move the agenda along, so that when someone in your network says something racist or says something that's just factually incorrect, and it's not about having a big fight about it, it's about, Let's take a little step of leadership every day so we can just get the truth out there. And let's be honest about these incredible divisions that we have, because if we stay this divided, yeah, we'll survive, but we won't be the country that we should be with all this incredible talent and diversity that we have in our country. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Danay. I'll see you on Clubhouse any moment now, I'm sure. And have a wonderful weekend, family.
Thanks.